work as a precision ag and conservation specialist with Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever. Today I'm here in Ridgway, Wisconsin in Iowa County at Tom Strutt's farm, and his dad is currently combining corn in the field as we speak. And Tom and his dad use a yield monitoring system on their combine, and today we're just going to ask Tom a few questions about it. So before we get into the questions, Tom, can you just introduce us to your farm, what kind of crops you're growing here, how big it is?
Yeah, again, my name is Tom Strutt. We live here just east of Ridgway, and we've got about 250 acres that we're farming here. A lot of it is what you see in the background, a lot of trees, a lot of forest. So we're contending with a lot of different terrain as we farm.
Yeah, very variable topography here in the driftless region. So tell us a little bit about the yield monitoring system, maybe the brand, the model. How has it worked? How's it been working out for you?
So when I started looking for a yield monitor, we all are very familiar with the investment that's required. Farm Tracks I found, and again, that's Farm Tracks. They're out of Canada. I found on their website, went through that, read through that very extensively, looked at the videos they have on their site, and decided that's the way I wanted to go.
Sure.
It's a very easy system to install. Just a general application, a general knowledge will get you a long ways. So you really don't need a dealer, you don't need input from anybody else. It's a good system.
Very good. It's very good to hear that it's very straightforward, that you were able to put it on the combine all by yourself. So how long have you had the yield monitoring system?
This is now my third year with the system.
And how do you feel, like you mentioned it was an investment, do you feel like now in year 3, how do you feel that investment's been working out for you?
I felt it was worth every dollar I spent because what it's done now is enabled me to focus on the good and the bad that I do have throughout the farm. I always knew it existed, I always knew there was good and bad, but not really to the extent of what I've been able to now track with this system.
Sure. So Tom, looks like you just need an iPad to track your yields in here?
Yes, you can run this with any tablet, or I run it sometimes on my phone, and it would run on a Droid phone too.
Okay.
Very easy to use.
Yeah, you can really see how much variability there is, just a small area.
Yes, you can.
And you'll be able to map this later on to see how yields varied across the entire field?
Yes, they have to download this data to their cloud service.
Okay.
And then you can pull the yield maps, and the yield maps then come by color, so you can see the differences. And in those maps, you can actually click on an area, you can find this data, retrieve the yield and what it was running.
Nice. What was 3 years ago when you were considering getting a yield monitor, what was your biggest motivation in purchasing one?
I wanted to increase my profitability, as we all do, right? And I felt that I had to track and record data and see where that yield was failing me and also what was good, and then take that back to the soil test and now putting it all together in a good nutrient management practice.
Right, and I can speak as a precision ag specialist. I look at data from fields like this all the time. There can be a lot of variability around that field level average yield, and you wouldn't get to see that if you didn't have a yield monitor. So I agree with Tom, it is a very good investment for knowing how yields vary across the field. So Tom, if you notice like an area of lower yields within your field, what do you do to address that to help increase profitability?
What I do now is go back and look at those yield maps that are provided through Farm Tracks service and find those areas, and now look at the soil tests, or maybe take soil tests more accurate to those areas, and then pull that information and gather it, and now start making a more specific fertilizer plan.
Sure. And one thing I will mention is here in Iowa County, we have an incentive program. The Farm Profitability Incentive Program will pay cost share to farmers to use their precision ag data to help find alternative practices for areas of the field that are turning a low profit. So example, maybe we have an edge area or headlands of the field where we don't have as good of yields. We can maybe cost share putting in a grass field border or something along those areas to help increase profitability. And a link to that will be provided in the description of this video. I think we'll wrap up here with just any questions that we didn't ask you or anything that you'd like to tell the audience that we haven't mentioned yet.
I agree totally in what you mentioned earlier about you've got to have that information, and I feel if you don't have the information, you can't make a good decision. Or you can make better ones. You can make better decisions with better information. So the monitor, hands down, was a good investment to make, and it was worth every dollar I've spent on it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time, Tom. And
Thank you.
Be sure to check the link in the description to see some helpful links for any of you who are considering similar practices or programs such as this. Thank you.